ほら、ルフィ、今一緒に海賊になる仲間を探してるんだ。
Hello guys, welcome to my channel The Wandering Zoro, your go-to destination for anime-related content. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. In today's video, we're going to be diving into part 3 of the series What If Quirkless Deku trained in another universe and returned to become the strongest hero. So be sure to stick around until the end, and let's get started. It was treachery at first, to turn against brothers, to live for personal advancement and power. But we have seen them, how their minds and bodies have been corrupted. Their very belief systems have been warped. This is no longer Horus's treachery. It is his heresy. 981.m 30.160. Izuku data log. 59 years has passed. 59 long years has passed in my journey in this universe. In all this time, I have finally mastered my swordsmanship, halberd skills, and my psyker abilities as well. I also had to deal with my first conflict with my newly made chapter. We call ourselves the Death Watch. I've chosen this name because in the time we were forming, many of my brother's legions that Horus seemed to influence were not helping our Astra Militarum in certain campaigns against certain Xenos, saying it was a waste of their time. I did not care if it was a waste or not. I decided to act and ask if any battle brothers would join me in fighting with me. Surprising, Horus and others laugh at the request, but men from Ultramarines, Raven Guard, Blood Angels, Salamanders, and Imperial Fist step up and came with me. Surprising, some men of the Night Lords and Space Wolves join in, as well as I prepare to get ready to lead them. As battles rages on multiple planets, the honor of my chapter grows in battle, and in name, where more people wanted to join, from the common man to other Marines that were willing to join, but I always ask my brother's permission first if it's okay for their man to join. Now, 59 years later, after many battles, planets conquer a file that was redacted by my father and grandfather, we finally reached the end of the campaign. On an unknown planet, we found our last brother. Now it's time to begin phase 1 of the father plan. End date log. Izuku POV. Finally, it's over. The Galax is unified under the Imperial banner. As some planets willing join us, others had to be taken over with force, with the death of millions of innocents, which did not sit well with Izuku or his battle brothers, since they believe in Vulcan teachings after understanding it better. Still, we did our best to protect the innocent and defeat our enemies. Now with it over, father call all of his sons into his throne room on the ship that is heading back to Terra. As we the sons gather, Horus stood on one side of the room where brother Mordorion, Logar, Onran, Perturabo, and Fulgrim were on one side. On the other stood Izuku, Rogel, Gilliman, Vulcan, Corvus, Sanguinius, and Magnus. In the middle was Alfarius, Lionel Johnson, Conrad, Jagatai Khan, Lehman Russ, and lastly Ferris, all waiting for their father to enter the room. 5 minutes later, father walks into the room with grandpa besides him. As he sits on the golden throne, I get on my knees and bow to him, as others follow my example, and got on one knee to show respect. The only ones that didn't were Horus and his company. Emperor of mankind. My sons, the galaxy is finally unified under our banner, one empire to rule all. It was difficult and lasted so many years, with many innocent lives destroyed and lost, but in the end we prevail. Horus. Those innocents mean there were in the way of conquest and deserve to be eliminated like the rats there were. Fulgrim. There were excellent targets for my man to practice our skill to be perfect in swordsmanship. As the other Primarchs, who with Horus talked badly about Izuku and Vulcan, were enraged by what they were saying, the men of the Militarum and fellow brothers sacrificed their lives for the Imperium to bring it in under the control. The Emperor looks at his son with disappointment and was about to say something till a loud thud was heard. He looks and saw that Izuku had punched Horus so hard that it broke his jaw and made him spit out 2 teeth. Izuku, you call our citizens rats, that they deserve to be destroyed and were in your way, and yet you wonder why you and the others here have lost more men in fighting them. They gave their lives defending their home from your aggression, especially the ones that were willing to join us. Izuku, these citizens have more heart and soul for the Imperium that you have in one of your fingers. In my time in my country, you know what we call people that act like you. Horus, feeling his broken jaw. What they call someone like me for acting on my giving right. Izuku, They call you a goddamn villain. And not just you, everyone that though like that would be called one as well. Horus was upset to be called this, as the others as well. Some of the brothers were amazed how Izuku stood up to how Horus acted towards his men and the people of the Imperium. The Emperor was smiling at Izuku, showing that he really does care for the citizens of the Imperium and would do anything they could to serve them or protect them. As he got up, he looks at snarls at Izuku and decided to walk away and leave the throne room with his other brothers, but stops and turns around. Horus, Magnus, Conrad, Alfarius, are you coming with me and joining me in my talks on how to keep the Imperium going the right direction? Magnus, Alfarius, Conrad. No, we are not. We would like to speak to Izuku more and see what he sees the future of the Imperium could be. Horus was outraged on their answer and left with the others, slamming the door of the throne room on the way out. As he finally left, the tension in the room left as everyone looked at Father and knew it was time to plan. Emperor of Mankind. My sons, I must first do this for security purposes. Activates the void shield to block any noise from leaving or being heard from the outside. Emperor of Mankind. Now then, first I want to ask Alfarius. Conrad, may I ask why you stuck around? Not for a bad reason, but I would have, though Horus would have influenced you in a way. Conrad. I tough about what Horus had said about how we treat our citizens, and even though I was brought up in a world full of criminals, molesters, etc., and the numbers of people we had to finish off before the world was at peace for the moment. Conrad. Izuku was the first to introduce himself before you, Father, but didn't judge me for what I did. He understood me, and with you learning how I became what I am, you also didn't judge, so I will support Izuku anyway I can and give him my support as well. Alfarius. I am interested as well of Izuku. He was able to detect me when I snuck into Horus' chambers to fight him, but also spotted my brother Omegon as well. Horus was attempting to unalive me till Izuku step in and stop him. Izuku. I can tell you had meant no harm. You were just wondering why a fleet was attacking yours. I was actually talking to your brother to finalize a treaty and peace with you and your system till Horus came and ruined it. Alfarius. I see. I was wondering why it took my brother so long to respond to me. But it makes sense now, but I ask why all the secrets right now? This is weird even for most of you. Emperor of Mankind. Well, my son, this will be hard to explain, so let Izuku and Magnus explain it. Izuku and Magnus look at their father and use their psyker powers to show the images into everyone who presents the upcoming war bloodshed and how two of the brothers had perished. It shows how the galaxy as in a civil war due to Horus and the others, as well as Terra being attacked with billions of people dead. As they both stop using their powers, the brothers look at Ferris and Sanguinius with sadness, knowing they perished during this heresy. But Izuku informed them they would not let that happen. He will save them both anyway. He can, even if it meant he would die. Emperor of Mankind. Now you see, my sons, why this meeting was in secret. We have to find a way to plan to stop Horus and the others from causing this heresy to burn the galaxy apart. We must be preparing ourselves for battle, for we do not know how long this will last. Conrad. Why would he do something like this? I know I use terror and fear to bring a planet to its knees, but this is just too much. Lehman. Just give me a chance. Let me cut that fool's head off right now. Grips his battle axe hard. Izuku. In time, Lehman, we cannot act until he makes his move. When he does, Father will use his power to give a galaxy-wide alarm of what Horus has done. This will give all planets and defense forces time to be ready, as well as our men to be ready. Alfarius. We will need a way to keep track on him and his movements, especially with this type of level threat. Father, I will like to volunteer for this. Me and my legions are good in camouflage, and we can infiltrate their ranks, gather info, and send it right back. Corvus. My men will help get the info from yours, and we can take it back here to plan accordingly. But will you be safe, you and your man, brother? We don't want too much risk for you all. Alfarius. We will be fine. I will make sure my brother and men will know what the plan is. Conrad. I will send some of my men to shadow their ranks. We are as good with stealth. We will be able to hear conversations we can't normally hear, and maybe extract info in a more brutal way. Emperor of Mankind. As much I wouldn't like that second part in this dire situation, I believe it will be necessary. As such, do as much as you can, son. I will not change or see any different for doing so. Conrad. Thank you, Father. And to you, Izuku, you were right that he wouldn't judge me for what I wanted to do for our future protection and safety. Izuku. You're welcome, Conrad, but now we have to start building our forces. to prepare to defend many worlds as possible and slow down Horus and his heresy. We do not know long it will be before he makes his moves, but this will give us the time to prepare. Emperor of Mankind. I second this, and how about you, my sons? Do you agree as well? Everyone. Yes, Father, we will prepare for the upcoming war. Emperor of Mankind. Thank you, my sons. I know we sacrificed so much already in this crusade, but I must ask you all once again to do it for the fate of our galaxy. As some of his sons bow and take their leave to prepare their chapters for the upcoming storm, many before leaving ask Izuku for any advice to help improve their results. Izuku, being the helpful person, gave them all data logs encrypted where only they would be able to access it. Each one had a specific way of preparing and also some formulas, instructions to help further production levels for them. 23 years later. Emperor of Mankind POV. 23 years has passed since that meeting, and each of my sons have improved their worlds and the worlds they control or protect defenses greatly. It's also thanks to Izuku these upgrades were done quickly and efficiently. With him the rule of not advancing technology, he was able to advance the facilities of his brother's factory worlds, making an abundance of tanks, siege equipment, aircraft and gunships to help support the war that is upon us. Izuku has also finally found a home planet to begin making his mark on the galaxy. His part of the system had 20 worlds surrounding it, all designed in a different way and built differently as well. The messages through Vox he had sent on his progress was fascinating. Instead of hive worlds, he built towns and city all over, so it can be more spread out. His factory worlds also look more advanced, better protecting the Adeptus Mechanicus that join him to work those factories. His resource output is amazing too. When he came back to visit Terra to see me and Malkador, he asks about if they had spotted an old building in the North Arctic. We confirm on this build, and he asked permission to check it out for a reason, and with that a small adventure began which resulted in finding a vault from old Terra. It contained seeds, and he saw one from his home country, meaning there was a Japan in this universe at one point. As he opens it, he was happy to see one item that will help his troops. It was called rice. I didn't know what it looks, shape, or taste of it, but Izuku invited me to come to his world to try it when I can. But it all wasn't good news. My son Horus and the others that surround him have been acting different and somewhat heretical. The reports from the Alpha Legion and Night Lords confirm this, meaning it is almost time for the Great Heresy, but I still have no clue why he would turn. I just hope in his heart he doesn't go down that path. End vlog. 003.M31. As the Emperor sits on his throne, Malkador, his right hand, comes in with a message. He asks the guards to wait outside due to how valuable this information is. Guards walk outside, locking the room from the outside, so no one came in, as the Emperor uses his Vox to call his sons. Emperor of Mankind. My sons, are you there? We have vital information from one of Alfarius' men within the Lunar Wolves. It seems the first captain of the World Bearers, known as Erebus, has corrupted the Legion and now is working deals with Horus and the Lunar Wolves. Rogel, are you saying that he is trying to turn Horus into a chaos worshipper? If he is, I will gut him myself. Vulcan, it means this must be the start, but where exactly is this supposed to happen? Sanguinius Izuku, anything on our end? Izuku, no, I do not know who this Erebus is or how he is connected to Horus, but we must be vigilant and prepare our men. Also, Father, one of Conrad Man came to my world and deliver a massage. Sanguinius, I have heard of him and I have some details on him and probably why he is starting this incursion. Emperor of Mankind. Then speak, my child. Any details will be able to help us with what is to come, and after Izuku, please give us that report as well. Sanguinius, I remember that he wanted to spread to the worlds that they have conquered. You were a living god, Father, but you stopped their legion from doing so. It looks like him and Logar have joined the side of chaos. Izuku, a scout from Alfarius Legion, can confirm they have built chaotic temples on their world of Kalkus and other worlds they have conquered too. Izuku, also, another report came in. It seems a planet called Istvan III has started a revolt against us. Some scouts I left on certain planets have reported that the governor is in open revolt against the Imperium, and it seems the Death Guard are not assisting in the planet's defense. Emperor of Mankind. This is troubling news indeed. It seems this is the start of the chaos that is about to become. Now, my sons, it's time we ready our forces, planet defenses, and supplies. Izuku, I already started sending out supply ships to all sectors with food, weapons, and vehicles. This will keep them going to all our legions are ready to move out and defend them. Gilliman, very good Izuku, that will give us a head start, but now I wonder about Horus. Sanguinius, I am too, brother. I hope that me and Izuku visions are wrong, but if they are not, then we must do everything in our power to stop the madness that will come. Emperor of mankind, you are right, my son. To all my sons, please begin preparations, for this situation is becoming dire, and we must pretend that we knew none of this is coming. All of his sons, yes, father. Emperor of mankind, Conrad, Alfarius, and Omegon, please do be diligent, my sons. Stay hidden and keep playing the part until it's the right time. Alfarius, Omegon, Conrad. Yes, father, we will. Emperor of mankind, good, my sons, now dismiss. As all left the Vox to begin preparations for war, and for the future, Izuku sends 3 of his brother messages about visions he had occur and saw that will occur in the future, and warn them about the events. One was to Ferris, who was warned about a planet with Xenos that has weapons that will age them in an extreme measure. Mangus was warned about a confirmation with Fulgrim that he does not know about. Magnus took this to heart and began to be ready for it. Last was his brother Sanguinius, who Izuku informed that Horus knows you are the biggest threat, and he was to be sent on a campaign to a world he never seen before, full of hatred and chaotic demons. Izuku offers some of his men, tanks, and a battle group of psychers to back up Sanguinius. He accepted with open arms and was thankful for his brother concern. A year later, 004.M31. Horus POV. Another year has passed in the galaxy of mere mortals, and my hatred for one known as Izuku Yagi grows every day. He has appeared out of thin air in our universe, and instead of being kill or experiment on like the worm, he was accepting with open arms. He should be used as a servitor and be at my feet wishing me to live him, with him breaking the natura order of things. The people are looking at him to lead the future and not me. But for now, I will plan against him later. This campaign on the world Darwin, a rebel, has taken over the world and has sided with chaotic forces and using their powers against us. It's a battle where many of my sons have fallen, but we will not give up this world. As we continue our battle, I finally spotted the man that caused all of this. Eugen Temba. Horus. Eugen Temba, you will suffer the Imperium and the Emperor judgment today. I will make sure your death is slow and painful, slashing through his zombie-infected troops. Eugen, come face me, War Master Horus, for you will not make it through this day. Charge my chaotic man, finish every single one of them for the Chaos Gods. As the battle between Horus and Eugen rage on, Horus man push back the chaotic forces, moving them away, finishing them with no quarter, no mercy. Horus' battle with Eugen took a turn when he was able to get past Horus' guard and strike him on the shoulder. The blade that struck Horus' shoulder was known as Anatheme, a blade corrupted and impregnated with the Chaos God Nurgle power. Horus took the hit and started to feel the pain imminently and the effects, but not without Horus striking him and finishing him. As his men saw Horus injure, they rushed to him, clearing out enemies to bring him back to his flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. Apothecaries try to heal the wound of Horus, but they could do nothing as he continues to bleed through that wound, and seeing possible pestilence grow on it as well. One apothecary named Vaden came to his War Master's side and examined the wound. He noticed that even the cells of the Primarch had stopped working and couldn't heal the wounds properly. Vaden, Captain Gavriel Loken, his Laraman cells are not function right from the toxin in that blade. It won't close the wound. We need that blade so we can study it and make a curse to heal our father. Captain Gavriel, understood, brother. I will make my way back down to the planet with a squad to recover the blade. Quickly walks out the room to gather a tactical squad for the retrieval. Few hours later, after battling more of the chaos forces, the captain brought back the blade, handed to the apothecaries so they may begin to study it and to find a cure as quickly as possible. But footsteps were heard as they turned to see first Captain Erebus came in. Erebus, I can save him. I can cure him of the curse's blade powers. All I need to do is take him to a place only I'm allowed in. Vaden, how do we know you are speaking the truth? Erebus, you have not been the same since the Emperor stopped you from spreading false lies. Erebus, if you want to try to take care of this, he might not make it before you do. As they thought about and weigh their options, they agreed to let Erebus to take him the area he can go in. Erebus slowly lift up Horus, took him into a gunship, and traveled down on the Darwin in a secret sect. Traveling with Horus and some of his men, they landed right outside a temple. The temple priest arrived right outside ready to accept, informing the lunar wolves for their pre-march to come back from the healing. As they slowly brought in Horus, what the lunar wolves didn't know was the priest were actually chaos worshippers. A hidden chaos cultist on the planet of Davin, been there since the rebellion had begun, brought into the plan that Erebus plan. Using sorcery, which was outlawed by the emperor, they began to heal Horus. Horus was slowly being healed, but Erebus gives a signal to the cultist to begin the corruption of Horus, using his jealousy of Izuku, the fear of him losing his status of War Master to Izuku, and his father not seeing any use of Horus to throw him away. His ambition to have the galaxy under him and him finishing Izuku. Resentment of his father and how he feels after he left during the crusade. All of this help with the corruption of Horus. As he rises all heal up, he look at Erebus. Horus, Erebus, you did this, and help me for that. I am grateful, but now we must plot and prepare to wage war against our father. Erebus, yes, War Master Logar has already corrupted the world bearers. Onran of is willing to join us, as well as the others need a little more time. Their resentment on our emperor is growing. Horus, good, we need to prepare for this. It will take time to wean out the loyalist trash that are in our legions. We must kill them all and deal with the threats. It's time for a new reign of leadership to happen. As Erebus and Horus leave the temple, his sons see that he is fully healed and kneel to him. Heading back into the drop ship, Horus begins his plan to take down the emperor, to take over the Imperium, to make his fellow brothers suffer for everything. But most importantly, to make that worm, that filth, that useless brat Izuku suffer for everything he has done, to make him beg for death with his last breath. Horus, it's time for me to rule this galaxy, to watch it burn. If my father does not surrender, we will not let anyone deny me. 005.M31. Izuku data log. It has been 2 years since we began our plans to go against Horus. As the years went on, events had taken place in the galaxy that has affected all of us, but thanks to what me and brother Sanguinius saw, we were able to change some outcomes. A prime example was the Cygnus Cluster campaign. Horus had ordered brother Sanguinius to take a bulk of his forces and clear the cluster of an unknown enemy. In Horus' eyes, and thought this was his idea to take care of his brother forces, but what he didn't know is that we knew he was planning this and knew the enemy already. Thanks to some new scout ships my shipyards made and produced, we were able to spot the forces in the system undetected. Luckily, we had evacuated the civilians before the unknown forces attacked them, and we study them with Father help. Seeing as they are forces of chaos, we discuss a battle plan, and I sent my forces that were trained for this situation to help. In the end, as Horus, though this campaign would take years, thanks to my special trained psyker forces, it took months to clear the cluster. Horus was furious seeing that the campaign was short and had to think of a new idea to keep Sanguinius away from his plans. But for now, I had found some new information that I need to talk to my father with. End data log. After another harsh day of training, Izuku showers up and dressing up in his uniform outside his armor as he begins his walk to the throne room. As he walks, some of the guards walk around checking the area, but one guard look at Izuku in a strange way. Izuku looked at this weirdly and decided to take a detour in the next corner, where the guard decided to follow me. As we walked the hallway further where no one was around, I turned to face him and see him kneeling, getting rid of the disguise he was in. Izuku, Keln, it's good to see you. How you and your brothers are doing and finding information. Keln, me and my brothers are well. We've been gathering information very easily. We have found 2 disturbing things we must discuss immediately. Izuku, how bad is it? Are we talking about Horus finally making a move on us? Keln, multiply moves, and where half of multiply legions will possibly die wrongfully. Izuku looked at him with a serious face and told him to follow him to the throne room, where he will have a meeting with his father. As they arrive at the door, they see Horus leaving through the door. As he looks with disgusting look walking away. Looking to see if he had finally left, he enters the great throne room, where his father and Malkador was sitting waiting for his arrival. Emperor of mankind. Oh, my son, how are you, and what with that look on your face? Izuku, father, grandfather, please activate the shield. We have an Omega level alert that we must discuss. Malkador stomps his staff on the ground to give the guards the order to leave the room and lock the doors. As they heard the doors lock, he activates the void shield so no one can get in or hear. Malkador, All clear, go ahead now. Izuku signals Kelm to step forward. As he does, he goes on one knee to show respect to the Emperor. Kelm, I am Kelm, part of the Alpha Legion's 2nd Infiltration Regiment. I was assigned in the ranks of the Lunar Wolves, higher ranks. As Horus started his plan, I came to report what I saw. Kelm, Horus has been in communication with someone on Mars. He is Fabricator General Kelbierhal. He been asked to join Horus' cause in return. They gave him some STC in return. Emperor of Mankind. This is troubling with him. They can basically build an army of vehicles and titans as well. Magnus had also informed me of this, but to hear it from 2 sources, this confirms my fears. Kelm, you are right about that, my Emperor, but sadly for him, those builds won't do anything. We were able to hack into the STC, change one part, so when they turn on their vehicles, they will explode. Izuku, sneaky Horus won't see that coming. When he finally launches his attack, he will believe Kelbier, betray him. Excellent job, Kelm. Kelm, thank you, Lord Izuku. To the next part, Horus has summoned demons to attack Magnus' homeworld of Prospero. Space wolves have been spotted near there, so looks like they will add them in the defense. Izuku, this is an interesting move for him. Sadly, though, I don't think most of his forces will end on the planet. Takes out a hologram and turns it on. Izuku, this was inspired from Brother Rogel Station. These are my space stations. They're heavy, fortified with new cannons I have made with auto reloaders. They also are fuel depots and supply depots as well. Izuku, they are right now in hyperspace since I don't really trust the warp thanks to Grandpa. And his notes, I had rediscovery how man travel to the other words, but improve it. Much safer and faster. These are also placed all over my sector as warning stations to hold off enemy as long as it can before my fleet arrives. Emperor of Mankind. I'm very impressed, son. Looking at these details, you have 2 full regiment of militarum on each station to defend, and a few of your marines as well. May I ask how many you have built in the years since you had your home world? Izuku, we currently have 300 right now ready to deploy. If I'm guessing, Horus might head here to Terra, so I will keep them ready to come in to handle the fleet. I'm working on more that fit each of my brothers and allies' description to benefit them more. Kelm, I believe Father Alfarius and Amagon would be very pleased with one. We would probably use one to be a fleet-based chapter. Izuku, I had thought of that, and some being made to fit those for fleet base and fleet chapters. They are also armed to the teeth with anti-ship guns, heavy cannons for those capital ships, and few squads of fighters and bombers to support. Izuku, but now for the last bit of info. Kelm, go ahead, please. Kelm, we have discovered that Horus plans to kill off the loyalists to you, my Emperor. He planning to use the insurrection that been happening there as an excuse to kill of those that are loyal to you. Emperor of Mankind. This is a very serious situation. If they finish them, that's about 1/3 of their fighting force that we can use to fight Horus. Izuku. He planning to sacrifice his sons and the other sons that are loyal to the Emperor. We can't let this happen. We have to stop the innocent bloodshed and save them. Izuku turns to look at his father. Seeing the anger the Emperor is showing in his expression, was formulating a plan to save the sons of the Emperor. Izuku, Father, let me lead a force to save your sons. We can't let this massacre happen. We need to save as many as we can. Izuku, I have a fleet and 2 stations ready for deployment since we were going to deliver some forces to some planets. Emperor of Mankind. Very well, Izuku, lead your men. Well, save as many as you can, bring them back to either your world or Terra, so we may have them ready for battle. Izuku bows to his father with Kelm doing the same as they rush out to the hangars to get on Izuku transport. Arriving at the ship, Izuku inform Kelm to tell his brothers that are in their squads to get ready to use the new item he gave each of them to protect the loyalist squads. As the transport heads back to Izuku's ships, he call on his captain with the fleet at his homeworld, informing them they have a new mission to rescue his fellow brothers. Izuku, Admiral Ferris begin heading to Istvan III with the fleet immediately. We have a priority mission there. 2 battle stations will follow closely behind, and I will follow up with my ship as well. Admiral Ferris, at once, my lord. We will contact you once we arrive for order. Speaks in comms. All ship in the fleet prepares for jump to Istvan III by order of our Lord Primarch. Admiral Ferris, all ships prepare for jump battle stations once we arrive. As the fleet gets in formation and begins their jumps to Istvan III, Izuku arrives in his main Emperor class cruises known as New Hope, begins its preparations to make the jump as all hands on deck prepare for the upcoming battle. Istvan III. Horus POV 005.M31. 2 years have passed since I began my plans to fight Father, and now it's time to act. After talking to my brothers that decided to join my cause, it was time to get rid of the useless that still believe in Father. Istvan III, a planet that went to rebel against the Imperium, will be used as the staging ground for our rise. Today we will rid of the followers of my Father and anyone that stands in our way. Horus, Mordorion, Ongron. Gather those portions of your man and bring them into the system. We shall all meet there and plan the attack to the point of no return. Horus, World Eaters, and a task force of Emperor children will also join us. This will be the beginning of our first step in our war. We will be separating in groups to assault 2 areas. While we send our loyalist brothers, the rest of us will be in the back preparing to assault them. Mordorion. Goodil sends them into the heart of battle, so we can take out as many. They are tougher. I hope those get everything that comes to them. We can move on the palace with your Luna wolves. Ongron. We will clear up the resistances in Coral City and help your wolves get to the Siren Hold while slaughter them all. No mercy, for their blood will spill. Horus. Good, this will dwindle down these loyalist slaves to make it easy for us to clear up. I have a surprise for them for when the signal goes. Horus. Virus bombs that we require from the newly formed Dark Mechanicum. We will be ready to wipe our failures of suns and then attack who remains. This world will be the beginning of purging the Imperium. Horus. Sad that Fulgrim couldn't see what is about to happen, but he said he was preparing for the battles ahead. But now, captains, prepare the men for drop. Once we arrive at the system, separate the loyal ones from ours. The captain left and beginning to separate the groups, but what they didn't know that one of the captains was a Night Lord that took one of the places as he moves to an empty room to inform his other brothers about the situation, calling them all and telling them what will happen in the meeting. They all begin to plan counteractions against the traitors. The Night Lord spies also inform members of the Death Guard, Lunar Wolves, and Emperor children that were loyal to the Emperor about what was going to happen to them. The shock on the faces of the men were real, and they were wondering how they would handle this. As heavy footsteps came through the door, he and the tactical squad that was sent to help in the battle enter the room, locking the door behind it. The man that was taller than anyone in the room was known as Rylaner the Unyielding, hero in the Great Crusade. Rylaner the Unyielding. I will lead our brothers in this battle. I cannot stand to watch so many innocent dies when the time comes. I will lead our loyal brothers to safety. I will make a comms channel for us. Rylaner the Unyielding. Now, brothers who are on this comm, this will be a battle for our lives. But we must pray the Emperor sends us help. But for now, prepare for the battle for not just Istvan, but for our survival. 2 hours later. The fleet is now over Istvan III as they are preparing the drops pods with men in them ready for the release. Many brothers cheer for the battle that is about to commence and the slaughter of traitors. Horus. Now my sons, your war master, want this world purge of these heretics. Show no mercy to any of them. Show no quarter to any civilian. Attack with the ferocity, my sons, let us cleanse this world. As the men cheer, they begin to enter their drop pods. Alarms started going off as their ships were being attacked by guns on the planet. Drop pods begin to drop out of the cruisers and escort ships as the men begin their drop to Istvan III. Coming in, the pods start to land near Khrvanak, also known as Coral City, as pods open. Shots were heard all over. The Death Guard Legion was the first to land in the area and begin to attack the fortifications of the city, destroying the corrupt troops turn into slainish followers. Fighting back, they shot at the Death Guard, bringing in Malkador heavy tanks and Basilisk artillery support to fight back. But Mortarian's legion was indefatigable and came down right within the cordon of fire, so that the Istvanians' artillery was left firing blind and overshooting the drop zones. As the shell bursting around them, they push on, brining in Terminator support and heavy support squads to clear up bunkers, trenches, sweeping life from each one as they push forward. Support craft was bringing in land raiders and vindicators to hit the wall's bastions and wall revenants of granite that shielded the city from the west. But after so many strikes and punishment, the wall fell. Bastions with hundreds of men were destroyed. It looked like a waste as the guard, now done with their task, begun to do the secret mission, getting to the center and preparing for the battle ahead, praying the Emperor send some help. Battle for the Precentor's palace. In another sector of Istvan III, the World Eaters attack in masses as Ongran was sending as many of the men that are to be slaughtered later in their drops pods to attack the palace. As they land, they rush towards the palace defensives. Charging through the gunfire, the shells exploding, slaughtering hundreds of them in minutes as they spread through the area like a swarm of locusts. Losing battle brothers along the way, they made it to Precentor Palace and stopped their advance. The cordon of defense for the Precentor's palace was built as proof against direct ground assault. It was an offense the Emperor's Children's attack plan fully intended to circumvent. With a precision landing vector few legions could have matched, the Emperor's Children's wave of Astartes landed directly on their target, clustering around its sprawling scatter of entranceways and admission halls. With speed and ruthless force bred during the intensive training and pre-planning the 3 Legion was famed for, the Emperor's Children, already on top of the inner defenses, fought their way into the Precentor's palace from a score of entry points against fierce resistance. After doing so and securing the palace, the men of the 3 Legion left the area for the World Eaters, as some of the World Eater brothers also went with them to prepare for the plane. This confuses some of the World Eaters because this is what they usually act or do. But they didn't care for long as they continue to find traitors to take care of. The Siren Hold. As the Battle of Istvan III continues, the Luna Wolves were beginning their assault of the hold. The Siren Hold was a scatter of great, irregular conical tomb spires, in appearance almost like deep ocean smokestacks, jutting hundreds of meters into the air. Drop pods getting closer started to begin receiving heavy fire from the defenses as they crash and pods opening to let the man out and begin their attack. The discipline and battle lust of the wolves kept pushing them forward with bolter shells and death all over as they continue. But it cost them heavily, but now they finally met with the Istvanian warsingers. Their screaming songs was able to take down many brothers by destroying their ceramite armor, but they kept fighting on, finishing many of them. As the battle raged around the hold, the Astartes were being pushed back by the sheer number of forces. Battle brothers were fighting, throwing frag grenades on huge groups on traitors. Heavy support squads ran weapons dry with their heavy bolters and missile launches. Finally, after many hours of battling, brothers dying, Captain Lucius made it into the traitor leader's room, finishing him to finally end the rebellion Istvan III. But sadly, their battle wasn't over. As loyalists were contacting their ships for pickup, communications were lost. More men pointed out that the Titan legions were walking away from the city. Something was up, but secretly the Alpha Legion in disguise were ready to act. Rylaner, something is wrong, men. I believe this is what we had talked about on the transport, ready a defense. If what is to come, then we will be fighting for our very lives. Captain Nathaniel Garo, sir, we are contacting all forces to come to the center as quickly as possible. Rylaner, good, looks above, by the Emperor. In the skies above Istvan III, battle cruiser of the fleet known as Firebird, Andronius, Killing Star, Indomitable Will, Gauntlet of Spite, Warchild, Conqueror, and the Vengeful Spirit flow in a low orbit in formation that appears to be near the city, but then the voice of War Master Horus can be heard. Horus, fellow corpse worshippers, you are all about to be sacrificed for gods of chaos. Prepare for your deaths, as I cleanse the fifth that you are. This planet is declared to be exterminatus, so long, corpse worshippers. As Horus prepare the bombardment on the planet, a call goes on his vox from the fleet still in space. Horus, what is it? What is going on? To interrupt my glorious moment. Admiral Haruma, sir, we have detective 100 ships, 2 unidentified objects, and an Emperor-class ship coming into the sector. Horus, who is it? Who is the commander of the fleet? Which legion is it? Admiral Haruma, sir, it's the Death Watch. They just entered the system with 2 ships I've never seen before. They are preparing for battle. Horus, what? That can't be unless. Here's something on the other channel of the Vox and switches to it. Emperor of Mankind. This is the Emperor. War Master Horus has betrayed the Imperium. He is attempting to finish off loyal sons for his own gain. He is joined by the Death Guard, World Eaters, Emperor Children, and his own legion. He also joins by some Titan legions that side with him. Emperor of Mankind. By my order, he and the legions and Titans that follow him are to be put to death. All planets and systems that believe in the Imperium mustered a defense until me and my loyal sons can engage him. Horus, and oh, my plans to take them by surprise ruin. All ships attack those Deathwatch ships, let none survive, and if their Primarch is there with them, leave him al. Horus and his men feel their ships rock with explosion. Seeing from the scanners, small aircraft of fighters and bombers are targeting him. Specialized aircraft to attack ships started to attack the 8 craft that were orbit. Horus was furious that he was caught off guard and ordered the ships to defend themselves, but all men loyal to him to attack the loyalist. As the battle on the surface commenced, newly designed void shields went up where Rylaner and his men were stationed, and other shields as well for those that couldn't make it to the center. These were designed by Izuku for this situation for his Thunderhawks to go and pick up the men. Bombers soar above them, using missile to hit the shield of the Traitor Titans. Titans begin to slowly fall, and other bombers dropping their bombs on Traitor locations, making Loyalist fighters' positions easier to defend. In space, as the bombers and fighters do these things on the surface, Admiral Ferris and Izuku are leading the offensive in the stars. The 2 space stations and the ships get into a battle formation and begin to move on the Traitors' fleet. Izuku, Admiral, send all Thunderhawks to get our battle brothers and have our cruiser defend them as they return to the space stations. Izuku, have Battle Group 1 and 2 strike the enemy fleet with their guns, and Fighter Battle Group 3 and 4 will defend the stations and help with getting our brothers here. Admiral Ferris, you heard our Primarch commence actions. As the fleet begin fights from some carries begin to attack Horus fleet, as their guns are having a hard time hitting them. But to Horus, Admiral was not worried, as he will bring the full force of the fleet guns on them. Suddenly his ship was rocked from an explosion to his left, seeing multiple ships being hit with laser blast, watching them explode after a few shots. Horus Admiral was shocked to see the power of the weaponry, as more of his ships were being destroyed or disabled, as other ships are being destroyed by the fighters. In his eyes, he was outclassed and outmatched, and now had to plan to fall back. Back on the Istvan III. As Titans falls and Traitors fell, the first Thunderhawks ships started entering the areas of the Void Shield, landing as they opened the hatch. Terminators came out and started firing their dual-wielded miniguns and rocket pods to provide cover, and tactical squads help the injured onto the crafts. Rylaner, brothers, I thank you for joining our battle, but we have others in other sectors being held down. May I know what your name, brave warrior? Captain Ajax. I am Captain Ajax of the 1st Deathwatch Company, and do not worry about them, they are being evacuated as we speak. Our bombers will continue to cover them with precision strikes. Captain Ajax. But for now, we need to focus on getting everyone out of here, with those zones being able to finish faster. The enemies are heading here, more ships will continue to come. We have ammo auto turrets coming to support us. Rylaner. Very well, brother, let us fight till everyone is evacuated for the Emperor. My brothers, don't let them have an inch of ground. The Loyalist, for the Emperor. This act of heresy shatters all ties of kinship. Those I was proud to call brother, I now fight to death. No quarter will be asked, and none sought. These are the vilest foes we must fight. There shall be no peace, no rest, no succor until the face of Horus stares down from Traitor's gibbet, and all his heretic followers are vanquished. Anonymous Loyalist, Istvan III atrocity. Days of fighting went by as Horus ships that were on low orbit, 6 of the 8 ships are heavily damaged that they had to retreat. 1 ship was destroyed, and the parts of the ship crash into the Traitor lines. Horus, furious of this outcome, did not retreat, as he ordered more ships from the fleet to come and support him, but even they couldn't help. In space it wasn't better at all. Horus' fleet was mostly damaged or destroyed. He started with 1,000 ships, but now he was just down to 200 ships. Izuku's ships and his fleet did take damage, but thanks to the stations the damage was repaired and sent back into the battle. The guns on the station and fleet ships did an amazing job on Horus' fleet. Although he was sad so many brothers had to die, but they had made their choice. Izuku was seen getting into a fighter with missile pods. Admiral Ferris, my lord, where are you going? Izuku, they just reported that Horus' ship has lost all power and is about to crash. The virus bombs he still has on the ship must be destroyed. We can't let them be used on other systems and planets. Admiral Ferris, understood, but he'll be sending escort fighter for you. Can't risk you dying, sir. Looks at some pilots. You 5 cover our lord as he makes a missile run. Pilots. Yes, sir. Runs to their craft and prepares to launch with Izuku. Izuku and his escort begin their journey to the surface as he contacts Thunderhawk's squad. So far, none have been shot down, only damage. About 70% of the fighting force has been evacuated thanks to being covered by his son and the auto turrets. Admiral Ferris. My lord, I want to report that the evacuation is 99% complete. All that remains is our men and Ryliner. The Thunderhawks, to bring them up, are following close behind. Izuku. Thank the Emperor. I will make sure Horus and whoever follow him suffer for this with this finale strike. I see Horus' ship and a hawk leaving. It must be him, but I'll get him another time. Admiral Ferris. Understood, my lord. We are attacking their fleet. Once more, take out those monsters. Izuku and his escort see the ship as the Thunderhawks land once more to evacuate his sons and Ryliner, getting ready to make his attack run. Traitors on the ground start to shoot, trying to take Izuku down, but strives from his escort kill them all. The Thunderhawks finally close their hatch and begin their trip back to the support craft as another group join them. They were evacuating the last of the Astra Militarum that were on the planet. Izuku. Admiral, open a vox to Horus and the Thunderhawk he in. Admiral Ferris. May I ask why, my lord? Izuku. I want him to see his failure as a war master and what I'm about to do. Admiral Ferris sends a signal to the Thunderhawks. They were surprised to see a vox as they open it. Horus. Who dares calls me? What pathetic worm dares talk to the War Master? Izuku. Me, you pathetic piece of trash. I just want you to know that I am coming for you. I will destroy your legion, and I will have your head. But until then, I want you to watch what will happen to you, traitor trash. Izuku gets a lock on his screen and fires his missiles into the open hatch of the ship, hitting the virus bombs that Horus brought, exploding them, and causing the bombs to spread the disease. Izuku turns quickly and full throttles back to his command ship, turning his head to watch what is happening. The life-eating virus exploded out of the ship, covering the ground around it as it spread. Traitor units saw it coming and began to run for bunkers, but were shocked to see that they had been welded shut. Desperately trying to break into them, it was too late, as the virus smoke reached into their armor due to the cracks they have. Screams can be heard as their flesh melts all over the planet. The screams of traitors can be heard. But that wasn't the end. Izuku let out one last bomb which exploded in the cloud, causing a fire to spread through the world. A worldwide fire engulfs it, killing almost all the traitor units, and Titans. Only a few were able to make it out. Returning to space, Izuku see more of our fleet be destroyed as he lands with his escorts into his ship. Izuku. Admiral, mission complete. We evacuated civilians, our men, and our fellow brothers in arms. Get the ships in formation to jump back. Admiral Ferris. Yes, sir. All ship prepares for jump. Form up and let us get the hell out of here. The ships fire their last shots, turning around, quickly forming up with the group as all ships. They begin to jump one by one, leaving a damage and destroy fleet of Horus. Horus Thunderhawk, finally leaving cover, looks down on the firestorm of the planet. Seeing the huge fleet he once had destroyed like it was nothing, he was furious, outrage squeezing his hands, so much vital fluid was coming out. He returns to one of the damaged ships, still operational. Furious, he unalives a servitor by crushing his head, swinging his blade, finishing more of his men in fury as he stomps towards the helm, brutally tossing men left and right as he continues his strife. Entering the helm, he looks for the captain. Horus. Where is the admiral? I want him in front of me now. Admiral Hiruma. My lord Ia. Horus grabs his neck, slowly squeezing it to make him suffer, as the men on the helm all stood quiet and still wondering what will happen next. Horus. You fail me, Admiral. You didn't destroy any of their ships, since I can clearly see none of them are out there. Your tactics have cost us most of our fleet. For that, I will not tolerate your failure. Admiral Hiruma. My lord. Trying to breath. I'm sorry for my failure. Neck is snap. Horus. Let this be a lesson to all you pathetic worms. I will no longer tolerate failure. I will personally end you myself and let the demons take your body for their pleasure. Horus. Do I make myself clear? Slams his weapon on the admiral chair, destroying it. They scream yes, my lord, as he turns around. Tell the new captain to begin their trip back to their world to get reinforcement and more ships for the battle that will be ahead. Back to Izuku fleet. As they travel through hyperspace, Izuku thanks the admiral for the successful mission. Although many brothers were lost, they were avenging tenfold. Izuku leave the admiral to carry on, as is left to check on the men that was on his ship. Doing his round, he checks on the men on the medical bays, armory, fixing their armor due to the long battle. Rylaner sees Izuku and slowly walks up to him, but Izuku stops him, telling him to rest to the Ancient One. Izuku, my friend, rest you and your battle brothers, and those who fought with you did so much. You all deserve to rest. Rylaner, I thank you, my lord. I thank you for saving my fellow brothers and those who did not fight with that traitorous monster. When I see him again, I will personally shove a frag grenade down his throat. Izuku, it was nothing, Ancient One. Your skills, leadership, and courage saved many of your brothers, as well. I should be thanking you for leading them to this small victory. Izuku bows to him slowly. Rylaner, my lord, please, you don't it that we must do for the Imperium and our Emperor, but now I am worried. Where will me, my brothers, and the other loyalists go? We have no home or chapter, and we were labeled as traitors. We will be doomed if we land on any planet. Izuku, that is true, but I have an idea. I offer you, your brothers, and the other survivals. I would like for you to join my legion, be members of Death Watch, and bring justice for our fallen brothers in arms. Izuku, if you and others don't accept, I will personally let you build a sub-chapter and give you a planet that will provide you with all you need as my word as a Primarch. Rylaner, though, for a moment, and looked to the right at the rest of his men that survived and stood loyal. They all gave their head shakes to yes to join. He looks left at some members of the Death Guard and World Eaters, giving him the answer as well. Rylaner, I, Rylaner the Unyielding, give my service to you, Primarch Izuku of Death Watch. You will have my skill and leadership till my dying breath, giving his hand out for a handshake. Izuku smiles, accepting the handshake as the men cheer. What Izuku didn't know was that his talk was play on the other ships of his fleet, and all the surveying loyalists all cheer for their new legion and home. Izuku, Rylaner the Unyielding, you will lead the survivors as the new 2nd Death Watch Regiment. I will provide everything you need for you and grant you a fleet, so we may stop Horus and this incursion on the Imperium. Rylaner, for the Imperium, for the Emperor, for the Death Watch. As the men continue to say it over and over, the whole ship cheers. Izuku looks at everyone and smiles, seeing them being motivated to fight. Izuku walks out of the room and heads back to the helm of the ship to contact his father to see what the next move will be. Izuku data log 005.M31. Istvan III, a battlefield I will never forget. All the bloodshed that Horus has spread, all because he resents father, sacrificing so many battle brothers for his own gain, but in the end, it backfires on him due to us being more prepared than he is. The Alpha Legion and Night Lord spies really help us in this time of need, and I personally thank Conrad, Alfarius, and Omegon for their men taking this huge risk. Father had too when this mission began, and praise both of them and their legions. Seeing the smile of my men, the crews of the ship, it reminds me of what Dad said. Flashback. Young Izuku. Dad, were you afraid when fighting villains? Did you ever think of running away? Toshinori. Well, my boy, lifts him up and put him on his lap. There were times I did, especially the tough ones, but I remember what your grandma had told me. Young Izuku, what did grandma say, Dad? Toshinori. She said, Nana Shirima, when you have to save someone, they're usually in a scary situation. A true hero not only saves their lives, but also their spirits. That's what I believe. So no matter how scary things get, give him a smile, as if to say I'm okay. The people who can smile are always the strongest. Toshinori. And those words I follow to this day to show people I won't be afraid, and why I always say never fear, for I am here. Smiles at Izuku dash. Flashback end. Izuku. And to this day, even after almost 200 years has passed, I keep those words with me and will follow them, which is why they are part of my Legion creed. So I will keep my smile on even in these dark times to show not just my men, but others that they will have nothing to fear. Why? Because as my father say, never fear, for I am here. End vlog 006.M31. Izuku POV. A few days has passed since the events of Istvan III. Once we arrived back on my home world, Kibu, meaning Hope, medical shuttles and transport shuttles came and took the newly formed 2nd Death Watch Regiment to get their new armor and gear. Rylaner was taken to a healing tube to repair the damage that he receives during the Unification's War. As he was being healed and brought back to his former glory, Izuku and his tech priest were working on his new armor. With Izuku help, he forges the pieces for Rylaner, and with the way they designed the new Dreadnought armors, it won't put strain on users and won't mentally destroy them. As another 2 days goes by, Rylaner finally finishes healing, and he's shocked to say that he was back to his old self as they lead him into the armory. He sees a sight to be seen. Izuku, Rylaner, good to see you fully recover. I present to you the new improved Dreadnought armor. Void Shield Generator was built into it to give you ultimate protection, dual-wielding twin Gatling guns with different ammo you can use. Izuku, also, in order not to strain yourself, the armor opens up. You can just step inside and leave it anytime you want. Rylaner, my lord, I cannot accept this. It's too much. Izuku, it's all right, Rylaner. You are to help me lead the 2nd Regiment, and they need their leader standing there strong and never falling. With this you won't fall, and the men will continue to keep fighting. Rylaner, I will not fail, Lord Izuku. I will lead your men to honor and glory. I shook hands with him before I excused myself to head to the main room of HQ so I can formulate a plan for the war. End vlog. Another month has passed, and we all the Reaming Sons meet on Terra to discuss the plans to attack Horus in the Istvan system. The Emperor assigned Rogel to begin the preparations, as Izuku's spy ships have been in the area collecting data and hearing transmissions from Horus to his allies. One ship picks up a surprising vox from Horus to Primarchs Logar of the World Bearers and Perturabo of the Iron Warriors. As the vox was being recorded, the ship sent out a transmission to Izuku's personal vox channel. Throne Room. In the throne room, as the discussion and planning was finished, as the chapter master for 2 legions left to begin their preparations, Rogel, Vulcan, Corvus, Magnus, and leader of the Iron Hands Legion Ferris Manus were the only ones left in the throne room with Father. While on the vox, Conrad and Alfarius and Omegon are on listening in. Izuku, this will be a very and deadly attack. We will lose a lot of sons from the initial attack itself, and so much equipment and supplies. I will provide my space stations for this battle due to the fact their fleet will attack ours. My ships are already making their way, and will stealthily go into position to attack them head-on. Rogel, very well, Izuku. And I will admit your stations are impressive and beautiful crafted. Turns around real quick, does a quick sniffle, and turns back around serious again. I thank you for the one you provided me and my sons. Corvus, I always thank you. The special training grounds you made for me, and my sons are helping a lot with their stealth training and keeping them moving in the shadows with the harder rooms. Ferris, we don't know each other well, Izuku, but I would love to see how far you and your system have evolved. Maybe after this world, I will pay a visit to you. Izuku, I will be delighted to have you over after this mess is over. We see here's his personal vox box go off. Oh, this must be important. Father, can we activate the shield? This vox only goes off when it's extreme sensitive info. Emperor of Mankind. Yes, my son. Waves his hand a little to inform the guards to move out of the room, locking it from the outside, while standing guard vigilantly as the shield begins to cover the room. Go ahead, my son, answer your call now. Izuku opens the channel. This is Primarch Izuku of the Death Watch Code, All Might, ready to receive data. Admiral Joanna. My lord, Admiral Joanna reporting in. We hack into the vox transmissions of the traitor Horus, and we found something disturbing. Izuku. What was it, Admiral? Do not spare the details. All information helps. Admiral Joanna. Yes, my lord. It seems Horus was communicating with Primarch Logar and Perturabo. We have it all recorded. I'm transmitting it you now. Izuku. Thank you, Admiral. We will look over the recording. Now keep up the work. If spotted, jump out of there. Admiral Joanna. Yes, my lord. Admiral out. Turns vox off. As the transmission finished, the data was download. Izuku accessed the message with a code, and it started to play. Transmission plays. Horus, Logar, Perturabo are your man, being prepared for the next battle. This will show the corpse worshippers who they are messing with. Logar. Yes. Brother, we are ready to betray the Emperor. As we speak, my chapter master was there discussing the plans. I'm transmitting what it is right now. Horus. Ah yes, well done, Logar. And Perturabo, are you and your forces ready? What about the armor you promised me? Is it ready? Perturabo. Yes. All vehicles, artillery is ready. The Dark Mechanicus also reported the Titan legions are ready. Perturabo. They thank you, War Master, for the stolen STC that you require. It helped get them greatly. I also use those STC to make our vehicles. We shall crush them under the weight of iron. Horus. With the Dark Mechanicus help and our legions, we will destroy them on Istvan. I also am trying to recruit Conrad, Magnus, and Alfarius to join our cause as well. Horus. Magnus declined, stating that his legion was not ready, but then again, they are still recovering from my attack I sent to those freaks. Vox was pause. Izuku closed his fist tightly, watching a little vital fluid come out of it with how hard he is holding them. The others in the room and on the Vox were shocked that Horus was the one that caused the failure attack on Magnus' home. Magnus was the most shocked, but anger grew in him as he struck the floor with this weapon. Magnus, I will strike him down. I will choke the life out of him for what he did to my home world. I am thankful for Brother Lehman and Izuku's space station came and helped a lot. I thank you for that, brother. Izuku, you are welcome. Magnus, I have left some stations there to help with the reconstruction and protections of your sector. Now let's get back to the Vox. Izuku turns it back on. Horus, now with their plans we can easily take them out. We can plan to attack them where it hurts. We will strike when the second wave comes in. A flare will be shot by my men to begin the attack. Logar, very well, we show them the power of the Chaos Gods. They will fuel us in the battle with their powers. Horus, very good. We'll try to get in contact with Ferris and Conrad to get them to join us. Their legions would help us defeat the corp worshippers and increase our forces due to losses on Istvan III by that failure of a son Izuku. Horus, I will make sure not a single man in his legion exists after this battle, and the sector he in control is the first to burn under my rule. But for now, brothers, gather your men, prepare for battle in a month's time, for our time has come to rule the galaxy. Vox transmission end. Izuku, so this traitor trash thinks he can control my sector, destroy it all to hurt me. It won't, and I'll make sure to hunt his legion down to the last man. And with Logar and Perturabo joining him, I think I can improve our battle plans a bit, brother. Rogel, then please go ahead and explain what you want to improve on Izuku. Izuku, Conrad, Ferris, I would like to ask you to join Horus' side, so he may believe that you join him, but when that signal goes off, you will turn on them and help us defeat them. Conrad, are you sure, Izuku? We don't want others to think we join them willing. Although we could both use our worst men that only care about slaughter and not caring for the Imperium. Ferris, that could work. I can tell you're having problem with some men as well, but since all of us are here, they will know not to really attack me or Conrad, huh? Izuku, that's correct, so you can use those forces to attack ours so we can get rid of them from influencing our men, and it will catch Horus off guard as well. Looking over the plans once more, Izuku see a way they can catch their whole army off guard and starts to do his explanations. As he is showing the map, he explains that the Iron Hands, with the help of his heavy Terminator squads, will help push the middle. Magnus would also send his Psychers to help push the middle with Izuku as well. This made both of them much relax, as to see not many of their sons will die. Salamanders will attack left flank with part of special melty units of my legion, so we can melt through the enemy and watch them slowly melt for joining Horus. Vulcan, as you know, I value life so much, and me and my men are willing to die for others, but I totally agree we will burn them and watch them suffer slowly for their actions. Izuku nods his head to Vulcan's statement and explains that Corvus will strike the right flanks with some sons of Izuku Legion, as well being part of it, carrying shields to cover Corvus men. Seeing how the World Eaters are on that flank, Izuku also plans to send his new train hands on fighting units too, with instead of a chainsword of power sword, he chose a weapon from his time. A power katana. This will make the World Eaters think they have the advantage when in reality Izuku men will probably have it. Corvus was interested in this weapon as Izuku gave him one, but saw the benefits of it in training with it, how it was masterly crafted, how it was made for defense and offense, with how fluid it is in motion. Izuku gifted him one as a thank you for training him all of those years. Izuku, now with all of that out of the way, the main problem is when the second wave comes, it will be the Iron Warriors and World Bearers. The Betrayers will be right near us and can slaughter us all. Izuku, but behind them is where we are also supposed to drop troops, as well. Ferris, Conrad, maybe you can convince Horus to let you drop there, so when that flare goes off, we can attack them in two directions. Ferris, very well, the ones that give you trouble can join them in the frontal battle, while my other sons join me in the third line. Conrad, same with mine, but just know some of the Iron Warriors aren't Iron Warriors. My sons had gotten information from them and took their places without anyone knowing, so we can strike them first before falling back to the third line. Conrad, Also, we found out that Lion gave them specialized artillery pieces that they were going to use against the traitors until he turns them over to Perturabo. Luckily, some of my men went and put Izuku. Very good. The units I'll send to help everyone has the void shields we use at Istvan III, meaning when the ambush happens, they will go up protecting us from everything, even their Titan for a while. Rogel. This is excellent planning and improvement on the plan. Izuku, the lesson I knock into your head work really well. Strong defense with an excellent opportunity for attack. Izuku. Oh, blush from embarrassment. Tie brother for that. But I think we have a big problem, the landing points. Izuku. A lot of heavy fighting will happen. We may lose a big portion of the attack force before we can get to the line. I think I can help with that. Rogel. Go on then, Izuku. Izuku. I will lead a fleet to engage their fleet. With how mass our fleet is, it will take time for the force to get here, while I engage with my ships and space stations I plan to bring. I'll send my stealth bombers to go and hit the landing zone over and over, clearing the area from forces and armor, make it easier for our men. As everyone look over what Izuku proposed, they all saw it was flawless and a good way to change the way the battle outcome can be. Rogel looked at his father for final approval, and he shook his head yes to it. Rogel. Very well, Izuku. This new improved plan will commence. We have a month's time till we attack. Thanks to Izuku, we are preparing multiple defense positions to slow Horus down as well, since we believe he will aim for Terra itself. Rogel. Izuku has sent us 50 stations that are currently on their way here. They will be placed in stealth and located in the path we believe Horus will take with this fleet. Rogel. One last thing though. Izuku stepped forward towards father. Izuku steps to his father's throne and bend his knee to give him respect. As his father takes a sword, everyone was thinking he was going to strike him, but they stopped and saw what he was doing. Emperor of mankind. Rise, my son. You are now War Master. Lead our men, our son, and the Imperium to victory, and protect our future as you will to yours when you return to your time. Izuku. It will be an honor, father, but it will not just me, it will be all of us to lead our men into battle and safety after, and win this war against this heresy. Lifts the halberd in the air as it turns on. Now, brothers, gather your sons. Be ready in a month for battle. A month later. As the legions are preparing for the attack, Izuku and his legions are finishing their last preparations for the beginning of the battle. The loading of ammo, men. Supplies are about to be completed, and reports from Conrad and Alfarius and Omegon came in showing off locations of Horus units and theirs. As his brother contact Izuku, saying their men and ships are ready, and they are beginning their trip to the meet-up points. Izuku responds his ships will meet him there. Izuku. Deathwatch. Today is the day we fight those traitor trash. We show them the power of our legion. We show them the power of the Imperium. We show them the power of the Emperor. Show no quarrel, no mercy. Izuku. Today is the day they face the punishment by the Imperium for their atrocities against everyone. The people that died defending their homes, the systems that suffer cause of this heresy. No more. It's time to end this with this battle. The men cheer for the Primarch words and the inspirational aura that his gives. They all start running to their stations and post to get ready for the battle. What Izuku didn't know was his Vox box was still on, and the entire fleet and his brother's fleet heard it, and they cheer and get inspire for battle. 2 hours later. As Izuku fleet waits, he see on scanners the Imperium fleet is starting to arrive. Coming out of the warp, they see Izuku massive fleet of 5,000 ships of advanced cruiser, battle cruiser, carrier ships, supplies and support ships, but the massive Emperor-style battleship that is Izuku flagship. They also saw the 100 space stations that are ready for battle. Izuku was amazed by the massive Imperium fleet of regular Astra Militarum, his brother's legions, all ready for the attack. Izuku calls on all ships to begin the operation. As alarms on all ships turn on, as men start moving to the pods to load into for attack. As Militarum begin loading up on their Valkyries for the drops to the service as well. Izuku. Admiral Ferris, let us begin, shall we? Begin the jump to Istvan V. Admiral Ferris. At once, my lord. Ships part of Phase 1 begin the jump, the rest follow with the rest of the fleet. As 100 ships and 50 space stations line up for the jump, the rest of the fleet begins to prepare for their Vox jump to Istvan. Izuku and his ship's forces are ready, and now Phase 1 begins the attack of the traitor fleet. 1 hour later. As the Traitor fleet stays above Istvan III, their commander is wondering if they should leave to get more supplies or wait till Horus tells them to. But as they wait, a proximity alarm goes off, and everyone is scrambling trying to figure out what is going on. As they look into the vast open areas of space, they see what caused it. Just then, Izuku and his small fleet come out of hyperspace and begin to enter a battle formation while the space stations start to set up their defensive positions to cover the main fleet. As Horus fleet commander laughs, saying, "This is what the great corpse worshippers send us to fight our mighty fleet, order all ships to attack," not informing Horus on what is happening. 1 hour later, thousands of ships' parts are floating in deep space as the once confident command of Horus' great fleet body was floating outside. Izuku's ships and space station destroyed the fleet that was stationed there without remorse or mercy. It was all thanks to ships that he had left here to watch over them, uncloaking during the battle. Izuku. Admiral Ferris positions the fleet to begin drop operations and get the captain of the Detroit on Vox. Admiral Ferris. At once, my lord. Opens to channel to the fleet. All ships, prepare for drop. I repeat, prepare for drop. As the Militarum, Battle Brother head to their drop pops, and Valkyrie, the captain of the Detroit, comes on the Vox. Captain Cordelia. Cordelia, here, my lord. We scouted the service and spotted what the traitors did in the area. Captain Cordelia. Fortification around the very well defended and guarded by the Emperor children. We will send the rest of the info to you. How on the other positions? Izuku. Thank you, Captain. Have you and your ships go back into the stealth and report on any traitor ships entering the system. Izuku. Admiral, send in the bombers and their escort with the special gift for Fulgrim and his legion. Admiral Ferris. Yes, Lord. Gets on Vox. Launch bombers, hit the area for the drop. The main fleet will be here in a few minutes. On the surface of Istvan V. Fulgrim was proud Primarch, one who stands for perfection in arts, weapon mastery, and other thing. As he looked at the horizon, seeing the fortification he made for him and his men, predicting that Ferris and his man would be the first to arrive, he could lower their numbers from the struggle they will face. Looking up with a smile, he sees something on the distance. Confused what it was, cause he Legion's ships weren't meant to be back anytime soon. The objects seemed to get closer until something was released from them, and the objects hit on the fortifications. A loud explosion occurred. Multiple explosions occurred, catching the traitors off guard as Fulgrim looked to where his fortification where he was shocked by the scene he witnessed. Fortification were hindered and destroyed. Small craters were on the land where he see his dead sons laying. As the bombers keep dropping and the Emperor children forces come out of the destroyed bunkers, they were hit by strafing runs by the bombers' escort, finishing more men. Hours have passed as this was repeated over, dwindling down the Emperor children forces. Back in space. As the bombing runs continue, the main force of the Imperium arrive as Ferris and the first wave began to get in position. Izuku. Contact Ferris ship. Admiral, time to begin Phase 2. Admiral Ferris. Yes, my lord. Contacts Ferris ship. Lord Ferris, Lord Izuku would like to talk to you. Ferris. Go ahead, Izuku. Me and my man are about to do our drops with the Militarum that is supporting us. Izuku. Fulgrim had a surprise for down at the surface, a fortress across the drop site that would have hit you from both sides. But my bombers broke their fortifications and finish off as many men as possible. Izuku. Should be an easier drop site for you all. I will also send a surprise for his legion, as well. They will drop with you. Let us show these traitors the power of the Imperium. Ferris. Haha, well done. Now let us show them. All forces begin drop to the surface. Battle of the Urgal Depression. Ferris ships open their hatches, drops pods begin to be launched. Thousands of them floating down into the surface, as Valkyrie joins in behind to drop troops. Izuku's ships also open their hatches, drop prods from them also drop as the might of the Imperium begins their travels. Bombers and fighters from Izuku fleet come to give them support. Bombers make it to the surface area first and bomb the Emperor's children positions again to give the pods and Valkyries cover as they finally reach the surface. Pods hit the ground as Izuku pods hit behind them. Emperor children try to find cover, but with most of it gone, they stand out in the open ready to kill Iron Hand troops. But they were not the first to come out of the pods. Izuku sent down the special troops led by a former Emperor children commander. Rylaner the Unyielding steps out the pod and begins to fire upon his former legions. Rockets from his shoulder mounts hitting multiple spots as more Terminators with dual-wielding Gatling guns stop out to fire upon the Emperor children. Rylaner, face the Emperor wrath traitors, let none survive brothers. Many of Fulgrim men started falling the cover, failing to do anything for the traitors, but they would not falter. As one of the Terminators puts the banner of the Death Watch, Iron Hands, Salamanders, and Raven Guard. Now the Iron Hands join in the fray after seeing their banner go up. Battle Brothers come out their pods and begin to shoot at the traitors. Valkyrie begin to drop off troops at all locations so they can fortify the drop points. On the left side, Salamanders rush out their pods and the defensive position the Astra Militarum had made. As they were holding back the traitorous followers, Vulcan set his man up in defense position as Izuku Melt's units came out and started to blast traits in rapid succession, melting flesh and bone from the traitors. The right Corvus and the Raven Guard opened to see their Astra Militarum hold off some of the traitors and even some of the World Eaters due to their new weaponry thanks to Izuku. As some of the World Eaters began to get close, the pods opened with Izuku katana forces, and they began to cover the Militarum, slashing with precision strikes and skill. As the pods of the Raven Guard opened to join the battle and provide support for the men, now it was time to hold. Before the push. 2 hours later. 2 hours of fighting has passed as many Battle Brothers have fallen and some injury. They still press on to hold the positions. Thousands of brothers have fallen on the Loyalist side, and the one that are injured are being treated rapidly due to Izuku, specially trained apothecary units. They were able to rejoin the fight. Sadly, though, the number of Militarum have reached the hundreds of thousands, but they did not give up and kept fighting till their last breath. On the Traitors' side, they were horrific numbers of man-powers and traitor Astarte. Millions of their traitor troops have fallen, as double the amount of lost Astartes the Loyalists suffer they have. Fulgrim Legion suffered the worst thanks to the firepower of Rylaner and his special troops. As the situation was getting dire on all lines, it was made worse due to a noise over the horizon. The Legio Adoris War Lord Titans started making their way to the landing zone. Each step shaking the earth, each blast from their Melta weapon breaking the crust of the earth. As they moved closer, the Loyalists cheer for their arrival. Fulgrim, seeing the situation, decided to finally pull back what forces he has left. As they retreat, they are being shot by Iron Hands and Rylaner forces as well. More drops pods of the first wave begin to arrive, bringing in fresh troops for the push and to take the injured back to the stations. All positions have been secure and ready for the push as Deathwatch troops also land. They move to the front of the lines for all positions with new shields that easily block bolter shots with ease. Corvus, Vulcan, and Ferris talk a plan of action to act like they were going to rush, but in reality, they were going to be cautious since knowing what Horus was planning. In the meantime, Thunderhawks, pods, and Stormbirds started landing in the drop zones. As the second wave was coming in to start getting into positions when the first wave was tired out, Ferris took the high ground and began to build a fire base around it, bringing in turrets, building bunkers with servitors supporting them. As World Bearers finally arrive with the Night Lords, they begin to take positions on the left and right side of the hill as the traitors believe the Night Lords were ready to help them. In the third line, most of the Alpha Legion and Night Lords begin to prepare for the ambush on traitor units that might retreat, but they were also ready to charge as well. Conrad sent a secret message to his warriors that were on the Loyalist, and they get ready for Horus symbol. The same happened with Alfarius, giving the same message knowing the troops they are sending in are the one they don't want. Iron Warriors also landed with the World Bearers and Death Guard, as well as they positioned themselves behind the first line, letting them push to give them the best advantage, splitting into two battle groups, one pushing more in front, so they can pretend to move to the front when they send more injured back and ambush them from both sides. But the Loyalists saw this and planned for this, and Ferris, moving up in the middle, press a button on his glove to give the signal to the fleet. Horus, seeing how far they push, but seeing how his side was getting the loses, he was suffering more than the Loyalist, finally begin to put his plan into action. Corvus on the right flank received the message on his battle glove and whistled to begin to put his man in defensive positions. Shield warriors of the Deathwatch begin to make a box around both Raven Guard and them. Bolters ready by putting into special slits, and Izuku units begin to set up as well with their swords at hand, and their rocket pods they were able to hide while pretending to be jump backs. Vulcan on his left got the signal as well and gave a whistle as well to prepare his man, as the same on the right Izuku units that were pushing up with the salamanders stopped and began getting into box formation. Salamander and their bolters line up with the slits of the shields ready to fire as Izuku Melta units began to set up a position to lock in and set their guns for barrages. Horus, seeing how they were positioning himself, didn't think of anything of it, as he saw they kept pushing with the way they are. He then gives the signal to one of his captains, and a flare was launched into the air, the symbol to begin the assault on the Loyalists to destroy 3 legions, but multiple explosives went off behind the lines of the Loyalists. Moments ago, as the Traitors saw the flare, the first line stops in place and get ready to fire on the Loyalist. Tanks begin to get ready to fire. As they aim and finish, they heard their commander yell fire, but instead of firing, the tanks of the line explode, killing the men next to them. As thousands of tanks begin to explode on the line, Horus, Perturabo, Mortarion, and Logar were shocked by what happened, as thousands of tanks were exploding, kill almost the entire first battle group. The Titans started to aim at Loyalist positions until they were struck with missile that broke through their void shields. In the skies, attack fighters and specials bombers began to attack the Titans, knocking out their void shield as the bombers make the run and hit them, destroying them. Traitors, not paying attention, didn't see the Titans fall, finishing hundreds of them. The first battle line was caught off guard by all this, and now feeling the firepower of the Imperium full force. The second battle line saw the flare, but witnessed the destruction of the first line, decided to not use their tanks, and got in formation to rush the Loyalists. Before they could do, they Traitors started falling one by one. Seeing fellow Traitors strike down their brother caused confusing in the line. No one knowing who to trust started to hurt each other. Conrad and Alfarius' plan had worked to perfection, sneaking their troops within the ranks, and now fighting has happened, while another signal was informing them their brothers are now heading to the hill to help hold the position. Alfarius and Conrad looked at each other and nodded and told the troops to begin the attack on the Traitors. On the hill, as the Iron Hands squad on the hill with World Bearers and Night Lords see the signal, Iron Hands, confused by the flare, didn't see the World Bearers about to attack them until the slashing of claw from the Night Lords, finishing them on both sides of the hill as a huge melee battle began. As World Bearers were caught off guard, hundreds of them fell, and they started to pull back to the third line, believe they will be safe. As the hill was being secure, the Loyalist looks at the field below them, seeing Traitors being killed left and right due to the surprise attack and confusion in their lines. Citadel. Horus looked at the scene, anger and rage fill his body. He struck his war mace, finishing a fellow officer. Looking at his legions were being defeated easily as the Loyalists had taken the advantage of the field, turning around to see the look of the commanders and confusion of them. Horus, how is this happening? They shouldn't have known about what was happening. Now we lost the momentum. Horus, it doesn't matter. All forces advance. We will end this today. Kill the worshippers of my father and the Imperium. As Horus and his legion begin to move, the ground shakes with the forces of all traitor forces heading to push Loyalist. Ferris, seeing this, decided to tell all legions to hold as long as you can before pulling back in order to the hill. As Loyalists begin to open fire on the traitor charging, finishing hundreds of them. On Corvus' side, Izuku shield warriors were a good counter to World Eaters and Horus sons, as they were being unalived one by one due to them charging non-stop. As they began to reload the secret rockets pods Izuku forces brought began to launch, hitting multiple troops. Shrapnel from the explosions hitting other as well. For those that were able to get close, they were flipped over by the shield troops and was slashed to death by Izuku units. Raven Guard veterans also joined in the slaughter, using lighting claws to pierce the armor of the traitors like it was butter. Then a signal goes off in Corvus' glove. It was Izuku, sending him a message to begin to fall back to the hill. Giving his men the command, they pull back in order while finishing more traitors. On the left with Vulcan, the same with the shield warriors defending Vulcan's sons as they fire their bolters and meltas at the traitorous forces. Hundreds of Horus men burn to death with their screams of burning flesh. While Izuku Melta units start firing their guns, killing Terminators and heavy units that Horus has sent with ease, making sure to give his brother's sons the cover they need. Vulcan, seeing his sons fighting with all their heart, joins in the fray, finishing with his might warhammer. A signal goes on his gloves, giving the same message as Corvus, and they slowly, in order, make their way back to the hill. Ferris in the center, though he would have struggled or be in a losing position when he pushes the middle. But it was the complete opposite. As the signal came like for his brothers, they begin to pull back the now fortress-like hill as the guns from there begin to cover the loyalist forces. As Ferris slowly turns back, he see the remnants of the Emperor children slowly fall back till their pre-march Fulgrim strikes them down for being cowards. Ferris versus Fulgrim. Ferris and Fulgrim look at each other, once brothers under the same banner, now enemies. It was hard for both due to the bond they had created. The weapons they are using were forged by each other due to a contest to see who can craft the perfect weapon. Ferris wielding Fireblade of Might and Fulgrim Forgebreaker, each taking a stance and begin to strike each other. Both warriors fought with the hatred only brothers divided could muster, their armor dented, torn, and blackened by their fury. The two primarchs traded terrible blows, wounding one another deeply during their fierce struggle. As Ferris pushed himself to his feet and staggered towards the wounded Fulgrim, he cried out as he brought the flaming blade towards his brother's neck. But Fulgrim lashed out as he drew the single-edged, demonically possessed sword he had taken from the Lair temple dedicated to Slaanesh on Laren and blocked the descending weapon. With the power of chaos streaming from the blade, diabolical strength flooded Fulgrim limbs as he pushed against the power of Ferris Manus, feeling his brother's surprise at his resistance. Fulgrim managed to had he had made a terrible mistake in drawing the sword from the temple of the Lair, and he fought to release the damnable blade that had brought him so low. His grip was locked onto the weapon, and even as he recognized how far he had fallen, he knew that he had come too far to stop. The realization, coupled with the knowledge that everything he had striven for had been a lie. As though moving in slow motion, Fulgrim saw Ferris Manus reaching for his fallen sword, his fingers closing around the wire-wound grip, the flames leaping once more to the blade at its creator's touch. Fulgrim blade seemed to move with a life of its own as he swung the blade of his own volition. Fulgrim tried desperately to pull the blow, but his muscles were no longer his own to control. Until the sound of blade clash shocked both as they turned to see Izuku there, using his halberd to block the strike and kick Fulgrim away from Ferris. Izuku, brother, do not worry, we will get you out of here back to your legion and your sons. Slowly picks him up and see Rylaner come up to them. Izuku, brother Rylaner, I ask you to take Ferris back to the hill, take the Thunder Hawk, get him to the apothecary quickly, puts patch on his wounds to stop the bleeding, quickly before he passes. Rylaner, yes, my lord, let the Emperor guide us to get him to safety. Looks up to see the Death Watch drop into the battle to trap the traitors. Lead our brothers well, and let us hope we finish this today. Izuku, we will try, brother, we will try. Look up. Time for the last part of the plane. The Death Watch strike Alfarius and Conrad men should be near the hill after they clear the world bearers that was in the rear. Izuku, my sons, attack with the might of the Emperor, no mercy. We must end this war here, if not it may lead to years of conflict. For the Imperium, for the Emperor, charge. Death Watch troops. For the Emperor, charges towards the traitor rear. Logar versus Corvus. As the Loyalist legions all gather near the hill and get into the new fortified position to continue the assault, Corvus spotted the Primarch of the World Bearers, the one that started it all. Next to him were First Captain Cor Farron and the First Chaplain Erebus. With one look, Logar gave them the approval to continue the attack on the Raven position on the hill with what was left of the Death Guard and Horus troops on their side. As they charge with what part of their legion was left to fight, Izuku warriors step up, charging into them as the Ravens shoot from afar, providing cover. Logar, the Word Bearer's pre-march, hammered his way through the ranks of the dying Raven Guard to reach his brother. He felt power seethe within him, aching to rise out. Always before, Logar had bitten back his psychic potential, hiding it and hating it in equal measure. It was unreliable, erratic, unstable, and painful. A scream of release tore itself free, not from his mouth, but his mind. It echoed across the battlefield. It echoed into the void. Energy sparked from his armor, and a sixth sense, unrestrained at last, with its purity perhaps colored by chaos, exhaled from his core. Logar felt the heat of his own fury made manifest. He felt his unchained power reaching out, not only to enhance his physical form, but reaching to his sons across the battlefield. And there he stood at the heart of the killing fields, winged and haloed by amorphous contrails of psychic fire, shouting his brother's name into the storm. Quirkless answered with a shriek of his own, the call of the betrayer, the cry of the betrayed, and the raven met the heretic in a clash of Crozius and Lightning Claws. During these events, the World-Bearers unleashed special units they own, known as Galvorbak. They were world-bearers that willingly chose to be possessed by demons. As they let them fully control their bodies, their armor becomes flesh fused with them, as they all let out a vicious roar as they charge into the line of the ravens. Sadly, though, due to the defenses of the hill, the heavy gun and turrets were blasting them apart, and those that did make it near the line, Izuku man jump over the shield wall to engage them, giving the ravens much-needed rest. Though the Galvorbak were strong, they were no match for Izuku disciplined troop, and their way of the sword slicing cutting through their flesh armor like it was nothing. The ravens watching from cover were amazed by the skillful display of wanted to learn from them, but for now, they must focus on the battle. Logar, feeling that his elite troops were being taken down easily, he was about to rush toward them till Corvus stopped him. Quirkless fighting to kill, while Logar fought to stay alive. During their duel, Quirkless hurled insults and accusations at his former brother. He wanted to know why Logar and his legion had committed such treachery. Logar shared with his brother the future visions he had seen of their father, a corpse, enthroned upon a seat of gold, and screaming into the void forever. Angered by his brother's lies, Quirkless lashed out furiously with his Lightning Claws across Logar's face, cutting the meat of his cheeks deeply. As vicious blows were dealt between both of them, Quirkless had the advantage due to his skills and speed, finesse, and his many years of battle experience leading his legion. Logar did not have this experience due to him being a scholar more than a fighter. Due to this, Logar was nearly impaled in his stomach. As they continued to fight, one upward cut into Logar, making him stager, and Quirkless slashes into the stomach area of Logar as he was cut. Dropping his weapon from the pain, he uses both hands to try to choke Quirkless, but due to how weak he was, it did not bother him at all as he kept slashing into Logar, body tearing flesh. Logar in desperation crashed his forehead into Quirkless' face, but no movement was made as more slash continued to go into the stomach. Logar keeps hitting him, but to no avail as he finally heard a snap and saw the blades had broken in him, causing him more pain. On his knees, he sees his former brother come to him, looking at him with hatred as he turns on his remaining Lightning Claw and begins to do the final strike to Logar until nothing. No slash, no pain, nothing at all. Logar opening his eyes, seeing the Primarch of the Night Lords there, thinking he was about to be safe. Conrad looks at his brother and nods to him as Quirkless pulls back his attack, while Conrad uppercuts Logar with his claws, piercing his skull as it being ripped out with the spine attached from their body. As the World-Bearers see their Primarch decapitated, First Captain looks at the situation and orders a retreat to try to save as many of his men as possible. The Death Guard troops see and follow, but were being gunned down by Horus troops for retreating. The left side didn't do well either, as the Traitor troops there were being pushed back and pinned hard. The Melta's blast from Izuku units were proving too much, and they decided to pull back, as well leaving Horus and his men alone on the field. Horus, in the middle of the battle, saw what was happening to his forces and screamed in anger, "Kill for Iron Warriors at once." Seeing the situation, though, he saw there was no hope of turning the tide unless the Titan of the Legio Mortis reinforce him. But that sadly didn't come, as they were destroyed by the combined firepower Legio Adoris and the new Titan Legion of Izuku, Legio Mustafar, in name of his hometown. Horus, seeing his men dwindle down more and more, but does not falter as his personal Terminator squad keep pushing that is until he feels the ground shake from another force. Traitor forces look behind them, getting shot, as they do see it was another loyalist force. It was Izuku Death Watch charging into the battle while gunning down traitors. Izuku leading the charge right into the traitors, swinging his halberd, finishing 5 Death Guard's troops that try to block him. Hours has passed since the battle began. Thousands of battle brothers lie dead, injured, or exhausted from battle. Millions of guardsmen have perished on both sides. Horus, finally seeing the situation was getting worse due to the involvement of the Alpha Legion and Night Lords, who he, though was his allies, finally made him call everyone to retreat. They fought with new vigor in order to get out of the death trap from all sides, with Horus finishing more men than ever to escape. Sadly, his Terminators were being gunned down one by one to get him out. 2 days later, War Master triumphant. Izuku POV. The ground at the Urgal Depression was full of hundreds of thousands of Astartes that perish alongside of Imperial army which counted in the millions, sons of the traitors and the Emperor alike. As we gather our dead to give them proper pyre funerals, we tend to the wounded of Militarum as well as our sons for all the hard work they did. Sadly, though all my men gave chase Horus, and the others managed to escape, but it cost them their honor guards that were defending them. It was not a total victory, which means the war will continue on, but as my duty as War Master, I will defend the Imperium till my dying breath. In space, I was receiving reports of the battle Admiral Ferris that the fleet had engaged Horus' fleet. The 2 days of battle cost both sides so much as thousands of ships were destroyed on our side, but thanks to my ships and our firepower, we were able to hit them harder. In the end, from our original number my tech priest estimated, we lost 1/6 of our fleet. It would have been worse if it wasn't for the space stations I brought along. They repair ships that were to mangle up to fight, but got them up again to keep up with the attack. As for the Traitors' fleet, they were hit very hard. About 4/5 of the fleet were destroyed in the initial attack. The firepower of Izuku's ships and stations tore their hulls like melted butter. The fighters and bombers all did massive damage on their support ships and cruiser that couldn't defend well against them. The last part of their fleet retreated back in the warp after the Thunder Hawk, picking up Horus, was delivered. Ferris, after getting to the hill apothecary's care, and tended to him wound. Seeing how it was another chaos weapon used on a Primarch, they were able to act quick, being defended by warriors of Iron Hands. Luckily for the Iron Hands, the apothecaries that were tending to him knew how to handle this, and slowly healing him, keeping him stabilized. After the first day, he was fully healed, but they let him lead the defense of the hill. Now as the night of the battle ends, arrive at time for me to do my duty as a War Master. Izuku, sons of the Imperium. This battle was a hard-fought one. Many of our fellow brothers have perished in the defense of the Imperium. We must not forget them at all. Walks to the burial grounds, son of the Salamander, Raven Guard, Iron Hands, Death Watch, and the Astra Militarum. With your sacrifice, we would have not won this battle today. Izuku, without your bravery, we would have not saved many others that fought in your place tenfold. Turns Flamer on. Your fathers are proud. Your system, where you come from, are proud, and you will never be forgotten. Points Flamer down. Izuku, I, War Master Izuku, send you off to fight with the Emperor by his side in the eternal battle against Chaos, the Heretics, and the Xenos. Pulls the trigger as hot fire comes out and land in the pit, burning everything. As Izuku continues down the burials, he gives thanks to each one carrying their chapter banners, so now would get. Izuku, your names will never be forgotten as we turn this planet into a death world with burial. With you have your name on granite wall with your names, so when no one can forget. Izuku keeps burning the body, leaving their chapter banner on the front so men and who may come to visit will know which part of go visit their fallen brother. As each one burned, Izuku emotions were kept in check to be strong for his men. As Izuku finished with the last pit, he turns around to see the ground in fire, smoke in the air, and a warm fire. Izuku, my sons, brothers, although we have won the battle, the war is not over. Many more lives will be lost until Horus is finally defeated. And kill. Izuku, protect your homes, worlds from their advance. Hold them to the last breath, for we are the Imperium. We do not falter or run away from them. Everyone, yeah for the Emperor, for the Imperium. Izuku, now rest up. Drop ships are coming into the get you all, so we can go together. Be ready by 0004. Everyone, sir, yes, sir. Izuku walks away to continue his rounds as War Master, checking on the injured as they await transport to one of the space stations. As he checks on his own legions mid-area, see they were battle-hardened and ready to fight again if necessary. Izuku mind. It seems the final showdown will happen in the future. I just hope that Horus will be ready to face defeat on my hands, as I swore as War Master that I'll do everything in my power to protect our Imperium. But in the end, you traitorous trash, I will. Now time to begin our defense, since we don't know where Horus will strike, but when he does, he will experience pain tenfold for what he did for the Imperium and the Emperor. As Izuku walks into the command room, he is met with his brothers, their commanders, his commanders, and Militarum commanders, while on Vox was his father and his other brothers. As they report what happened, they understood the dire of the situation of Horus escaping, as they now plan for the war of attrition for until Horus is gone. This heresy continues. On the other, deep within the warp, Horus was furious to lose almost all of his legion, as the others as well. Logre men were furious and wants retribution for the death of their Primarch and want to punish the Death Watch at all costs. Mordorion and Perturabo want to end Izuku for destroying their equipments and sabotaging their vehicles, and Conrad for what he did to his man. Knowing that half of his men were killed off before the battle began made him furious that he crushes the head of the servitor. Now with Horus deep in the warp, he asks the Chaos Gods for more help, more power to lead the heresy, demons princes to lead their armies against the Imperium to separate their forces. Horus is now pulling all the cards out for in the end the main target will be Terra. How long it will take to get there he does not know, but he will not stop till the heads of the Emperor and Izuku are on a pike. So, this was the end of part 3 of this series. Stay tuned for next part of this series, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.